Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, JV, coming to you live this Wednesday morning. Today is December 4th, 2024. We are 3 days away. 3 days away from December 7th, a day that will live in infamy in the United States history when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, the Hawaiian island, before World War II. So we're only 3 days away from that taking place, and that is precisely how I want to segue into the topic of discussion today, as the sun is just totally killing me here. The sun is just awful. But I wanted to talk about an issue, a topic, or an experience that I had when I was a teenager, when I was 15 years old, back in 1994. It is an experience that I will never forget. I've actually shared this before here on YouTube, but it's been a while, so I want to resurface that issue since it's so prevalent right now in the news, with all the drone appearances that have been taking place in the state of New Jersey, as well as some other drones that have also been appearing in military bases in the country of England. And that is, of course, the unidentified object, or the unidentified, what is it called? UAPs? Unidentified anomalous phenomena. It used to be called UFOs, unidentified flying saucers, but now they call them UAPs. And I remember back in 1994, in July of 1994, I was down in Mexico, in a very small town called Chavinda, Michoacan. It's the name of the little town and the state. And I actually made an excursion with 8 other young kids at the time. We went to the top of a hill, of a mountain, actually, that is very popular. It's basically the symbol of that particular town. And on top of the town, you had, or on top of the mountain, you had like a little chapel, like a Catholic chapel, which is a very, very prominent staple down in Mexico. If you go to any small town in Mexico and you see like a very tall mountain, chances are that mountain is going to have like a small Catholic chapel where I don't know why they even built it. I guess when they had excursions way back in the day and they would climb all the way to the top, they would have like religious ceremonies. That's my guess as to why they decided to build those chapels on top of these mountains. But anyway, when I was a kid, I would usually go to these places on a consistent basis. We would climb the mountain. I say it was about 150 feet, 200 feet tall. It was a pretty tall mountain. And we would go there and we would stay there overnight sometimes, and we would take our ingredients and we would have our lunches up there, sandwiches. We would actually have some steak. We would prepare some steak as well, and we would stay overnight. And I remember one afternoon, as we had already climbed the mountain and stayed there for the morning. I don't remember exactly what time of the day we actually arrived there. I don't know if we were already there prior to the day before, or whether or not we had left very early on in the morning, which we usually did, and got there like around 7 or 8 in the morning. But anyway, we had already spent several hours there, and we were just lounging around, looking over the little town as it was, in front of us. And as I mentioned, there was about 9 of us, including myself, that went to this excursion. And all of a sudden, we remember vividly I'd say about what, about the length of 3 football fields. The distance was about the length of 3 football fields. We actually saw your prototypical, your traditional flying saucer just floating in the sky out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. It was a oval shape, silver, shiny silver object that was just hovering in the sky for about, I'd say about 18 to 26 seconds. It was just hovering there, and we were watching it in disbelief. And at first we thought it was like a reflection of of some sort of an object in the surface that was reflecting the light, that was reflecting some sort of a light on the sky that made it look as though it was like a flying object that was, again, shiny and silvery. But the thing that really threw us over the top was immediately after those 26 seconds, all of a sudden the object disappeared and reappeared about, I'd say about 150 feet to the right, doing the exact same thing, just hovering in the sky for another, I'd say for another 20 seconds or so. It was just anchored to the sky, it seemed. And unfortunately, back then, of course, in 1994, we didn't have any cameras. We didn't have any smartphones. I don't remember whether or not we took one of those big camcorders, those big, what was the brand? Not the Polaroid Kodak cameras, the 30 millimeter ones, but I mean, I'm talking about like those big camcorders where when you recorded with the big VHS cassettes. I don't remember whether or not we had one of those, and if we did, we just didn't have enough time to actually capture the flying disc. But it was very, very obvious. It was an extraordinary event. And then after the 20 seconds, it just disappeared out of nowhere, out of thin air. It didn't leave any trail behind. It didn't move in a linear motion from point A to point B. It just simply disappeared out of thin air. And it was one of the most incredible experiences, and the only experience that I've ever encountered of a UAP, formerly known as UFOs, that I had ever encountered. And I really don't think that it was a military vehicle from the Mexican military. I don't even think it was from this earth, to be honest with you. I have no idea where it came from. We don't have any clue as to how it could possibly just appear out of thin air. Maybe it didn't appear out of thin air. Maybe we just, we were just surveilling the sky, and all of a sudden we came across it, and we thought that it appeared out of nowhere. Maybe it had already been there, for a couple of minutes. We have no idea, but all I can say is it was a metallic. It was just your typical flying saucer that you see, man. Oval shape, shiny, silvery type coloring. And it was just standing there, just sitting there in the sky, and then it just disappeared and reappeared, like I mentioned, about 200 feet to the right. And it stationed there for about another 20 seconds, and then it disappeared. So I have no idea, like I said, where it came from. I don't know who was operating the flying disc, and I don't think it was reflection of some sort of a mirror or a panel that was perhaps sitting on the surface of the earth. I think this was a legitimate flying saucer. But anyway, if you guys have encountered any UFOs or UAPs, let me know in the comment section if you've encountered anything similar to this. And this was in broad daylight, by the way. This was in the middle of the afternoon. This was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was very, very clear. There was no shiny object or anything. It was not in the darkness of night. It was right there for us to see. There was no lighting whatsoever. You didn't see any halo glossing over the object. It was just silvery. It was just a metallic looking UFO. But anyway, just wanted to share my experience once again. This happened again in July. I don't remember the day, but it was in July of 1994. There was a World Cup soccer tournament that was taking place here in the U.S. I remember vividly, and it was an extraordinary experience. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you on the next video as the sun continues to eat the left side of my face.